Good evening once again, family. This is 9:10 a.m., the Superstation, the future of talk radio. This is the Get Up, Stand Up, Truth and Vision show. The truth is in the house. I'm your host, Malik Shabazz. We got some men up in here tonight. And that's a beautiful thing. I can't help but think about what Akila was saying the other night at WHPR, to see us men. Far too often, the women and the children, they just don't see us. Right. And when they do, and I'm generalizing, there's some great black men. Great. These are great black men. But in a generalized way, we see us in a funky kind of a state. You know, it's beautiful to have the brothers out here, even though we disagree on some things. To have the brothers is a beautiful thing. Want to remind you that if you have a business and you want to call in, because that's a way to fight crime, to increase the economics, to when we spend money, $2.3 trillion, when we spend money with some black businesses, we are increasing employment and hope. So if you got a business, we want to hear from you. If you participated in the prayer vigil, the march, the rally, the literature distribution about Rodney Yergin and Jalen Woods, two more young brothers who got murked. And I'm proud of everybody. And I'm proud of them young folks that came out. In the rain, you can call in. If you want to weigh in on what we're talking about, Commissioner Davis has a resolution, and he wants it to become a state and federal law. So we're talking about all of that, and we're going to be going back to the commissioner, but I want Rick Ector to pick up where he left off, and Robert Robinson, we ain't forgot you, my good brother. Go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, gun control is really an issue, and it's an issue from a historical perspective, and it's an issue from a racial perspective. You know, earlier in my first stanza, I really was getting to the point that we have issues in the city of Detroit, and yes, we have issues in the state of Michigan. We have issues with crime and violence all across the country, in particular in places in which people of color are concentrated. Those issues and problems that we have are not caused because a gun exists. As the bill that was being talked about in the opening stanza, a gun is not the problem. Ammunition is not the problem.
Well, what's the problem?
We don't have a gun problem. We don't have an ammunition problem. We have a human problem. We have a heart problem. We have a lack of understanding problem. We have a poverty problem. We have a job problem. We have all these problems. It's a perfect storm. A gun and ammunition possessed by a person of good character, who is a good person, who is a law-abiding citizen, who does everything that you would want of a protective and a productive member of our society to do, to go to work, to put forth a living, to raise a good family, send your children off to school, attend church, be active and involved in your community. These people, who are the majority of gun owners, are not the problem. The problem is a persistent minority of individuals who don't choose to operate within the lines of decent and civil society. These are the people who, regardless of how many laws you create, how idealistic you are in your plan, how this plan and this law is going to be any different than the other 20,000 gun laws that we already have on the books, which are ineffective and does absolutely nothing to make people who are not predisposed to love each other, to do the right thing and not hurt each other and not rob, rape, and kill.
Laws?
We have 20,000 gun laws, and there's more insight, because the answer to issues in our community is, man, let's not look at the problem and get at the root cause. You know what? Let's take away guns from the people that did not do something, from the people who have proven that they are law-abiding, the people who have proven that they can do the right thing. One of the great things about our law, our concealed carry law, is when they enacted it, the anti-gun people who were outvoted, they stipulated and they had negotiated into the law that we would have to keep statistics on CPL holders, people who passed a background check. I mean, it's more difficult, and this is a definite fact, it is more difficult to get a concealed pistol license than it is to be a law enforcement officer. But we wanted to prove to the naysayers. Actually, it was the anti-gun folks. They wanted to prove that they were right. So they wanted to keep statistics on individuals who got concealed pistol licenses and see what types of crimes these people did once they were given the right to carry a concealed firearm. Once the results came in, once all the math was done, what we found is that people who qualify and receive and utilize a concealed pistol license are far more law-abiding than the average citizen, and we're actually more law-abiding when you look at all the data than law enforcement officers. People who can legally own and possess a gun are not the problem. The problem are the criminals. And the issue is, how do we keep bad guys from doing bad things with guns? Well, let me tell you, I don't care how many laws you create, whether it's at the local level, the state level, the federal level. I believe you hit all the various different levels on top of the 20,000 gun laws that we have on the book. We have a human problem. We have a heart problem. We have a community problem. Gun control is never the answer. As a matter of fact, the only thing that gun control does is that it makes it more difficult for law-abiding citizens to gain guns and defend themselves against bad guys and actually put good people at risk. The only reason that we have gun laws in the city of Detroit and in the state of Michigan is because of a little case that happened back in 1925. A gentleman by the name of Dr. Ossian Sweet, a very well-known, prominent doctor here in the city of Detroit. He wanted to do the best for his family, and so he moved them down over into Garland Street. This is back when they had covenants built into deeds, and there were deed restrictions. There were actually salespeople who couldn't sell real estate and homes that had these restrictions to black people. Well, this one white couple proceeded to sell a piece of property on Garland Street to Dr. Sweet. They moved in the middle of the night, and once the people found out that a black man, a doctor no less, moved into their neighborhood, an escalation occurred until one night over 500 people were camped out on this property, and they proceeded to conduct a riot and then proceeded to shoot into his home because Dr. Sweet was so brazen enough to equip his family with firearms and to defend themselves. 2 years after Dr. Sweet and his family were exonerated in 1925, the state of Michigan, our legislature at work, our legislators created the 1927 Michigan Firearms Act. And in this Firearms Act of 1927, which is still on the books today, was included the most draconian gun laws that have ever existed anywhere in this country, which created which created the handgun purchase permit, which created discretionary licensing, which was discriminating against black people to get carry licenses, to carry concealed. Every piece of onerous gun legislation that existed in the state of Michigan was created out of racism because a black man had the nerve to protect himself from a white racist mob in 1925. Our issues with violence have nothing to do with guns. Guns are used, but you know what? We hurt and harm each other with a litany of things. And yeah, guns do get a share of the blame as the thing. A gun is indistinguishable from any other tool, laid by itself with ammunition or not. This ammunition bill seeks to think that the ammunition is a benign issue to separate from a law-abiding citizen, I'm here to tell you that we have bigger fish to fry with respect to solving our violent problem in the city of Detroit than to implement new laws and legislation against law-abiding citizens, not only in Detroit, but in other municipalities across the country in which people of color are concentrated. Gun control has a long racist history, and we need to quit perpetuating that, and let's look at implementing solutions that's going to decrease crime and violence in our community with respect to empowering people, economic development. Let's talk about education. How long has education been a problem in the city of Detroit, in the school districts and the takeovers and the not?
Let me bring Robert Robinson in here. Also, let me throw out the phone numbers: 313-778-7600, 313-778-7600, and you can view us on Superstation Live, 9:10 a.m. Superstation Live, Roku Box, 9:10 a.m. radio, and one of my pages, Get Up, Stand Up, Truth and Vision Show. We're airing on that. And Robert Robinson has us on Facebook. How you doing, Robert?
How you doing, bro? I'm doing all right.
You all right?
I'm fine. I'm doing fine.
Good. Tell us about It Takes a Village, y'all, and then chime in to what our brothers are saying. But what is It Takes a Village, y'all?
It Takes a Village, y'all, is a grassroots movement that's geared to mobilize people to bring back that old mentality of having each other's back. The reason why I call it that old mentality of having each other's back, because we all know growing up that we used to have that village in our neighborhoods. Like I always joke and say, when everybody respected Big Ma, you know, you get that phone call. Well, she'll get that phone call that you clowning down the street after you already got a whooping from the neighbor. Everybody looking at you sideways while you're heading back home. Big Ma and Mama stand on the porch waiting on you so they can get their turn to get in. It wasn't about trying to harm the child. It was about doing everything you could to help raise that child. One of the things I want to say to my brothers here, because everybody knows the minister's my brother, Reggie's my brother, Rick's my brother. Just like brothers and sisters, you're not always going to agree on everything. But before I jump into that, I want to say this, because I don't like it when we give our city a black eye. Not everybody in the city of Detroit. If we go by some of the things that people say about Detroit, you wouldn't be able to walk down the street without being raped, robbed, or murdered. One of the things about statistics is, who did they survey when they talked about that? Or who did they survey when they did their little questionnaire or whatever? Because from just doing certain things in Brightmoor, I know that if I walk from one block and go 2 blocks down, the dynamics have totally changed on what was going on just from what we do. And so if you use that as a template, place that for the whole city, you know, you wouldn't be able to walk down the street without being raped, robbed, or murdered if we go by how we're being portrayed as a city. I know there's more people in the city who are doing the right thing than there are those who are doing the wrong thing. It's just they don't get any airplay or they don't get recognized. There's plenty of neighborhoods you can go to, and there's that 1 or 2 blocks, 1 or 2 houses sitting on that block, and the people are doing everything they can. They just don't get the services. They don't get the recognition. So with that being said, I don't want to get sidetracked, but I'm going to go to what Rick said. To his
Because
side.
you're a gun advocate.
Yeah, actually, I am a NRA
and
certified
you train
instructor.
people and stuff,
Right.
yeah.
I'm an NRA certified instructor. People look at me with what I do in the neighborhood, but they never put that, Robert's a gun instructor. Yeah, Robert's a gun instructor. I'm out there. I see Nika's on here. Nika's one of the big people out here doing things in the community, too. We just did something for her birthday at Action Impact where we work at. It's a whole nother thing. I want to try to stay on facts. What Rick said, to what Rick said, yes, we do have people out here who are out here trying to do the wrong thing and everything, but they're the ones who are praying for laws to come out to stop it, to where nobody can do anything. Because if you go out and survey them, because I talk to the guys when I'm out there, the biggest thing that they're afraid of is getting shot. So if I'm coming to pull a gun on you and you have an even chance to defend yourself, I don't want you to defend yourself, because I want you to be able to be my victim. for those who chose to do it, because not everybody's out there doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And those people are rooting for certain things to be put in place to where we can no longer defend ourselves. But to what Reg was saying, it's not about trying to take away anybody's gun rights or anything. It's to open the conversation to where we can get things. If I'm wrong, stop me.
You're absolutely
Reg.
correct, sir.
It's to open the conversation to
Absolutely
get everybody like Rick Ector's, Malik Shabazz, Robert Robinson's, Machete Muhammad, get different people together to talk so we can talk, because like I said, not all of us have the answer. If we did, we wouldn't be in the situation we're in now. So it's like, if we get everybody together, you give your tidbit, you give your tidbit, you give your tidbit, and we all work at it, and we just pick apart the different things. You got educated people here. You got smart people. You got bona fide people who can get together and say, hey, you know what? As a team, this is what we came up with. If we get that I out of there, put we in there, we can do so much more when everybody works together.
Amen.
And I've been saying that for years, but sometimes people,
and you practice it.
Yeah, and it's the whole thing, and I don't get into that getting out in public arguing. What do I do? I step back. I don't call for press conference, all the other stuff. I just step back. If you want to clown, that's on you. I'm not going to be a part of it. I try to get people to try to, what did he say? Every time you try to get out, they try to pull me back in. But the thing is that I have the wherewithal to say no. I'm not about to be a part of that. I'm not about to do, because what's happening is that I am now out here publicly arguing with you, and people are looking like, yeah, get them. They're not going to get anywhere. They're too busy fussing and arguing. But if we do what people don't want us to do and stand together, what is that? It's an African proverb. An ant gets on you one at a time, you flick them off. But if we do like the ants and band together, we can take down elephants. If everybody takes and they think about how can we work together instead of how can I tell you what to do, we can do so much more. So much more.
Amen. If you're out there, family, these brothers would like to hear from you. 313-778-7600. Go ahead, Reggie.
Yeah, so brother Minister, I don't want to talk you to death, man. I don't want to just talk and keep saying the same things over and over again, and most of it doesn't have anything to do with what we're proposing here in this piece of this body of language. So I want to say this: Chris Rock, as we all know, is a comedian, and he likes to take serious situations, life situations, and make satire, and create satire from it. And he made a point some maybe 5-10 years ago. I can't remember the year it was. He says that, hey, y'all stupid. It's easy. If you want to stop gun violence, all you got to do is put a $5,000 increase on the taxes on the bullets. And when the brother goes, I need to go kill, but I can't afford the bullet. Now, it was a joke, but if you think about it, it makes sense. The main thing I want to talk about is back to what Brother Rob says, and it makes total sense. We want to create a wraparound. I'm not going to sit here and be on that side of the table or this side of the table or up there down. No. We're talking about creating a wraparound coalition of people to come together on this to figure out, us and intellectual brothers and the sisters at the table with us as well, to figure out how we can get to the bottom of this senseless gun violence that continues to happen in cities like Detroit. And some of the states that I want to tell you about, Brother Minister, that have already enacted some sort of laws pertaining to the purchasing of ammunition. There's 6 states that have enacted laws regulating ammunition sales and requiring purchasers to pass a background check in order to buy ammunition. 2 states, California and New York, have passed laws requiring point-of-sale background checks on ammunition purchasers. So, you've got these different states, and I'll say the one state that's not a part of the 6, but is very close by, is Colorado, and they've enacted a law in 2013 to reduce domestic abusers' access to firearms and ammunition. The provisions of that law apply to ammunition as well as firearms. Connecticut, this is one that I like. 2013, they prohibit the sale of ammunition. It says here, a handgun has a handgun carry permit, gun sales permit, or long gun or handgun eligibility certificate, and presents such a credential to the seller if you purchase ammunition. 2, has an ammunition certificate and presents to the seller such certificate, along with a driver's license, passport, or other valid government-issued identification that contains the person's photograph and date of birth. That's Connecticut. California regulates the following aspects of ammunition, as I'm going to mention here. It's 5 steps. Sales and transfer, or should I say 5 different things. Sales and transfer of ammunition. Persons are prohibited from possessing ammunition. Minimum age to possess ammunition. Ammunition sales at gun shows. Illinois requires residents to obtain a firearm owner's identification card before they can lawfully purchase or possess ammunition. No person may transfer firearm ammunition in Illinois unless the transfer displays a current valid FOID card. And there's other things that I could talk about these states, but the idea is that you already have 6 states in this country that have committed to putting some sort of law wrapped around the purchasing of ammunition. Again, it's not the gun that kills, it's the bullet. If I have a gun and I sit here and I point at you and I pull the trigger, you're going to hear click, click, click. If I insert a bullet into the chamber and I pull the trigger, you know what's going to happen. So, you know, the point that I'm making here is that Detroit is, compared to any other city in this country, one that we have a small population of people, considering what I'm about to say, and we continue to lose nearly 0.5% of that population every year. Something needs to be done, because the losses that we have, the majority of them look like younger versions of us gentlemen sitting here around this table. That's a problem as far as I'm concerned.
A caller called in. I guess their name is Clarks. They didn't want to speak, but they said you can't buy ammo in Detroit.
You may
Address that.
You may not be able to buy ammo in the city of Detroit because there is a anti-gun legislation that exists on the books that goes back to the days of folks who are familiar with guns in the city of Detroit, since the days of General Laney, gentleman of African-American
I knew
descent.
General Laney.
I knew him well,
Yeah.
and we all,
Good brother. Keep your
idolized
powder
him.
dry.
Right. Very strong gun rights advocate, member of the National Rifle Association, and founded his own group. And, yeah, Detroit, along with all other major metropolitan urban centers in our country, is anti-gun. You know, to speak to, you know, Chris Rock's joke that speaks to his lack of sophistication with regards to gun laws, because after all, he's a comedian and he was joking, you know, even if you made ammunition $1,000 a round. Excuse me, brother.
That's all right. It's time to cut you off.
I did not interrupt you. I'm sorry.
Chris Rock is a comedian, and he's taking an idea,
and you're rude as hell. But here's the thing:
senseless persons like yourself don't understand that this is the way that we can make a change. Look. It's a major situation. It's going to take a major change to see the difference.
Be rude and cut me off and loud talk me and
you continue to speak about the same thing over and over again, which makes no sense. You don't understand the issue.
Okay, so fine.
God forbid, if you lose your brother, your sister, your mother, your father, you will understand what I have to say the next day. But until that time, you're going to argue against the ideas that we have to do something to change what's going on.
While he keeps talking, can I now respond?
No, you can't.
No, you know what?
I don't want you to.
Maybe I should have contacted you to be on my man, the minister's show. But you know what? You want to hijack his show. Now, getting back,
I don't believe in just talking though. Right now, you're
that's
just
what
talking.
you're doing.
That's all you're doing is talking.
So all you're doing is just cutting me off.
I'm making points.
And you know what? I get a lot of that when I talk to anti-gun people. They get rude.
I'm tired of
Are
hearing
you
that.
anti-gun, Reggie?
No, I'm not at all.
Anybody that
That's where his ignorance comes out.
that proposes anti-gun legislation is anti-gun. I mean, you call it
I'm not anti-gun. This is me. It's coming out of my mouth.
So why are you
I
proposing?
am not anti-gun.
Why are you proposing
You don't listen. you
gun
continue. That's where the
legislation.
ignorant comes
Well,
in.
you know
It comes
what?
in at.
I'm not going to sit
You
here and
keep
denigrate
talking.
you, but you know what?
Stop
That
talking. You're
just
not
talks,
saying anything.
That talks
It's not
about
penetrating.
because you're talking.
You're not penetrating
Because
the mind,
you're
the
talking.
brain. You're just talking.
I sat here honestly
Enough
and
of
let
that.
you talk and
Let's
listen,
make something
and
happen.
I actually
I'm
listen.
not going to just talk. I want to make
That's
something
what
happen.
you're doing. And not only,
that's
not
what you're
only
doing.
do I let you talk, you cut
No,
me
you
off.
talked for 30
now
minutes and nothing came out of
I
it.
still can't respond to what he talked about.
If you're out
I mean,
there,
you're a rude
callers
person.
313
Stop
You know what?
talking,
No,
Rick.
you're
Extra.
scared of
778.
debate.
Make something happen, man.
You're scared of
Stop
debate.
talking.
You are.
7600.
You're scared.
You're talking.
We
'Cause you know
got
I'm about to get up in
Commissioner
there, but you know what?
Reggie
I
Reg
understand.
Davis.
I understand.
We
Stop
running
got
your mouth,
Rick
Rick, brother.
Ector.
Let me
We
talk.
got Robert
You ain't saying nothing.
Robinson.
You ain't saying nothing.
Because you cut
We
me
got a
off.
caller.
That's why I can't say
Hey,
nothing.
hey, y'all.
We
First
got a
thing I
caller,
was
y'all.
gonna do is talk
Let's go
about
to the
that
caller.
ignorant-ass
Say
Chris
something.
Rock
Good
joke.
evening,
Let's
caller.
just talk.
Say something. 'cause
Good
you don't
evening,
understand.
Anonymous.
You don't want me to
Rick.
talk
Your
because
ignorance
you,
won't
We
allow
got a
you to
caller.
my
understand.
ignorance will
Fellas.
why are you scared of this ignorance to
Fellas,
respond to
we
that
have a caller.
ignorant argument you're putting forth?
Let's go to the caller. Good evening, caller.
Good evening, Minister.
How are you?
I'm good, but this is exactly why Reggie Reg has never been good for prime time. You know, the man sat there, Rick was quiet all night, ain't said nothing. He gonna interrupt him. Let the man have a peace. I mean, takes a village. Y'all just said we got to have acrimony. We got to have peace amongst each other. And you just interrupted the man, and you still over talking him. That's why I would never vote for you. I don't know why Negroes voted for you. Because the only thing you ever been good for is a DJ. You don't have no political savvy.
Bless
you
your
don't have
heart,
no
brother.
economic background. You know, I mean, the thing of it is, you got appointed by a man who didn't ever even live in the state.
Now,
didn't even live in
now
the
Brother
county.
Steve, to Reggie Reg's credit now, he has been
Brother, you
a
can't
community
convince me
activist.
to what I know.
No, I've worked with.
Politically,
That's okay.
politically,
No,
listen,
it's
this
all
is my
right.
opinion. Can I have my opinion?
You have your opinion. Go ahead, express your
My
opinion.
opinion, in my opinion, Reggie Reg is a political bum. He is led around by the nose by the people who oppress us, people who ain't for the people. And when you sit back and you watch and you contemplate and you watch what the man's actually do, don't listen to what he always says. Look at what he does. He did the same thing.
Steve,
on
I've been in schools with the
You don't know.
man.
That's Rick Ector's brother, man. Hang up on him.
I've been in schools. with the
Rick Ector's twin. Hang up on him.
I'm telling you, the guy's a political.
Thank you. That's what you need, brother.
Okay, well, look, I don't control
That's what Rick needs.
the callers. I guess
Look,
Martin
man,
got you.
he was letting
I
you
don't
have it,
control.
and all
That's
you
all
got
right.
to say
I
is
don't
he's a
control
affiliated
the-
with me.
That's
That's
your
right,
brother.
right,
That's
the
your
right,
mic.
right,
Martin
Right.
does, but
That's your twin
let's
brother.
go to the next call.
I ain't crying.
It's live in here tonight. Is this
have
Kenny?
Can't surprise me.
I got Reggie Reg Davis.
Rick
I
and-
got Rick
Rick and Chick.
Ector,
Oh, brother,
and
you
I
can't
got
just-
Robert
you can't
Robinson,
stand
my
the
good
vibe,
friend.
man. You
Let's-
Your
you
twin
have it.
brother. Bless you.
Let's
Let
go
you
to
have
Kenny. Kenny? Hey.
Hey, y'all quiet down, man. Let me get. Hey, I agree. We need to do something with Reggie Reg. You know, this is the kind of man.
Oh, hey, Candleman.
Yeah.
Hey,
I
what
didn't
up,
know
bro? I
if
just
they
left
say
from
that,
with you.
man. Hey. Yeah, we just left, man. We got to do something. You know, everybody's saying, well, everybody should have a gun, everybody should have bullets. But you know, Minister Malik, my daughter got killed by a fool.
Yeah.
Shot her for backing out of a parking space.
Yeah.
Now, the other brother can say all what he want, but I'm like, Ray, till you lose someone close to your heart. Now, I could have been a fool and ran out there and just start. Now, I'm licensed to carry.
Mm-hmm.
I was an officer down in the court.
Mm-hmm.
I could have went out there and did a lot of damage if I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But the grace of God kept me strong. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
'Cause that
Lift
was
him
my
up now.
only daughter, my only daughter at
Mm-hmm.
26 blew the back of her head off for backing out of a parking space.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm with Reggie. We got to do something because that fool was a 2 or 3 time felon.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And they gave him 85 years, but it's not going to bring my daughter back.
Right.
So this is kind of a sensitive thing that you're speaking on, but brothers got to listen, and we have to do something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the answer right now, but I will step up there and support something that we have to do. I'm not saying take the weapons away from the people that's legal, but we have to do background checks very careful. You know what I'm saying? People talking about, well, they going to get them anyway. I mean, we can't keep using that excuse that the criminals go get it anyway. If we learn how to know how to lock up our weapons and be careful of where we put them at and things, it's something we got to do, Minister. You know, you out there fighting every day, all day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I have been out there fighting and doing some things with you.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm willing to step up to the plate and try to make something happen because I will never get over this. I've learned to deal with it day at a time, but I still go through some things. Every time we turn on the TV, they're shooting. We killing each other. Black folks killing each other so fast. You got 3 that they just killed over here on the east side. The brother went in the house and shot the mother and the and her boyfriend.
Terrible.
I mean, we got to do something.
Terrible.
We I'm not gonna hold the phone, but we got to do something because this has got out of hand. This crime in our community, and if we don't do something about it, ain't nobody else gonna do a darn thing about it. So, if you could try to put something together, Reggie, I'm with that.
Thank you, brother.
And I appreciate you for taking my call, Minister. And y'all try to work something out together. We gonna have to learn to get along, agree and disagree, and still get along. But we got to get something because our babies out there getting dying left and right. And if real men stand up, boys to sit down.
That's right, Candleman. We want you to stay strong, brother.
Yes, sir.
We want you to stay strong.
Thanks, Candleman.
You know we praying for you. You know that.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
You always support me, man.
Yes, sir.
Since the day it happened.
Yes, sir.
You know, and that's why I always say I can step up and say when I can do some things, which I get out there and do it. Because, brother, you putting your hard time out there doing for so many people.
Yes, sir. I'm just glad that the killer is now incarcerated. But, again, it does not bring your baby back. But you do have some measure of justice. But we want you to stay strong, brother. We love you, okay? He gone? Okay, let's go to the next caller. Good evening. I got Reggie Davis. I got Rick Ector. I got Robert Robinson. Good evening.
Minister.
Yes, sir.
Now, I've been following you for years.
Yes.
And you had that man to tell you to hang up on me when I'm just pointing out my opinion.
Oh, I didn't hang up on you. I don't control
somebody
it.
hung up on me.
It wasn't.
Hang up on me. They hung up on me.
If you look at the thing on Facebook, I don't have any controls. I did not hang up on you.
All right, we'll move on. Listen here, Ray. I'm gonna use this statistics. He said in Chicago, they got a limit. They got a law, a legislation on ammunition.
Steve, let me let you know. The engineers give me the 2-minute signal. Now, do you want us to take a break and you come back at the top of the hour? You hold on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Look, family, let's get ready. We're going to take our commercial break. We're kicking it until 1 a.m. I have the last show on Saturday. Praise the Lord. And the first show on Sunday. We're here 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. every Saturday. This is the Get Up, Stand Up, Truth and Vision show. Brother Martin is engineering. He's the board operator. I got Reggie Davis. I got Rick Ector. I got Robert Robinson. Steve is on the live line. We're going to go to our commercial break now. When we come back, we're going to let Steve wrap up, and we're going to come back to the brothers. And you sisters are welcome to call in, too, and get in on this. This ain't just a man issue. This is a people issue. Guns, bullets, violence, safety, security. Are there any limits on it? These are people issues. It ain't just men issues, but we featuring the men, the brothers tonight. We do got some awesome women.
Don't let them tell you different.
That's right. All right, we'll be right back in a few minutes. Get up, stand up.